Outlaw Law is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Your law firm for life.
Welcome back to the Outlaw Lawyers. Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners at Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. Offices conveniently located for you at Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, and Gastonia. And a reminder, managing partners and practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. We've got a short segment, but we have another listener question.
So this has come up a time or two. A lot of people, when I grew up, my family, we didn't need a lawyer very often. So I think my whole, childhood to early adulthood, my family probably had a closing or two, a ticket or two, did some wills, just kind of normal lawyer needs. And so I think growing up, I didn't really understand this until I was a lawyer, but one of our listener questions is basically, how does a lawyer get paid? And the way I phrased it was, I went to see a lawyer and had to pay a consultation fee to meet with that lawyer. I thought the lawyer would only get paid if they recovered money for me. And so the question basically is, how do lawyers get paid? And the answer is it's different, right? It's different depending on the circumstances. So you see, I think most people just in their daily routine, if you watch TV, you see the personal injury attorneys who run ads. And Joe, what kind of fee would an attorney charge usually for personal injury?
So what a shame that lawyers are getting paid for the work that they're doing, Josh. just a tragedy, man. But there's different types of fees, and there's really two primary ways that fees are assessed. And one of those methods is the contingent fee. And like you said, Josh, you're going to see those contingent fees primarily with personal injury cases. And what you see there is a situation where the attorney's not going to be getting paid unless there is a recovery for the client, and then the attorney is generally going to be getting a percentage of that recovery as their fee. That does happen, and again, like we said, that's the standard for personal injury cases, as opposed to the other method of billing, which is the hourly rate. And again, that can be a flat fee, but we'll just call it hourly because it's the opposite of contingent, where recovery is of no consequence. There's not always going to be your case may not always be the type where there is going to be a recovery that's going to be generated from your representation, or a monetary recovery. And there's still going to be a substantial amount of time, energy, effort, work expended by your attorney in that process. So some things are going to be billed in that contingent manner. Again, that's going to generally be the PI that we see, the personal injury. And then I'd say the majority of things are actually going to be the more traditional hourly or flat fee billing, where your attorney is going to be collecting either a fee up front or they're going to be billing you hourly based on the amount of time they put into your case. Because one thing about litigation and one thing about litigating is you can have an informed idea of what that's going to cost, the time it's going to take, and what's going to go into it, but it's unpredictable and it can widely vary. So a lot of times the only way to accurately, as an attorney, account for the amount of work that's going to go in, the time it's going to go in, is to handle it on the hourly basis, where you can, you're just going to have to collect as you go, because you never know what is going to be required.
Yeah, and just to give you some examples, just from when I was growing up, right? So if my family needed a ticket, an attorney to handle a speeding ticket or something like that, that's usually a flat fee. So the attorney's gonna be like, all right, you got a speeding ticket, you're going 20 over in whatever county, I charge blank to do that. And if you pay me blank, I will do that. So that's kind of a flat fee situation. I was in a car accident, right, where the other driver had insurance, and that turned into a personal injury matter. So when we say personal injury, we're talking about car accidents, slip and falls, things like that. So where someone was negligent and you were hurt as a result. And then, like you said, Joe, a lot of times attorneys will be like, all right, you don't have to pay anything out of pocket. We're going to recover. I think your case is worth this. And I'll take a third of it when it settles, or whatever that attorney, takes for contingency. And then the hourly fee a lot of times comes up in kind of the business law world. If you're suing someone for breach of contract, or we're trying to work out a easement issue with your neighbor, most attorneys, some might, but most attorneys won't do a flat fee, won't do a contingency fee. That wouldn't make sense there. They'll do an hourly, and they say, hey, I charge blank an hour. I think this will take about 5 hours. This is what I think it'll cost you, and this is our fee agreement. So really just depending on what you need from the attorney. And then again, every attorney is a little bit different. There's none of this is set in stone. So depending on the attorney you're talking to and the matter and the time and their experience, all these things kind of go into fees and how they're charged. But anybody you talk to should be upfront with you about what they, what the attorney expects you to pay and why and things like that. But I always get a lot of questions about fees. And so I thought that would be a good question to get answered today.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, another one in the books. You can find Josh and Joe at Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. They're the managing partners there, and they're the practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Offices conveniently located Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay-Varina, and Gastonia. If you're facing a legal situation, you've got a question, here's a number for you, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. And leave your contact information, briefly what that call is about. An attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch, and you can always email your questions to the program, The Outlaw Lawyer, questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. And please check out that website. It's a good one, theoutlawlawyer.com. Another great show in the books. We'll talk to you next week right here on the radio.